Thank you all for staying with us on the program. Shortly, our first guests will join us via Zoom just to help us find some salient points in the developments across the country right now, particularly as they have to do with the economy. Queen and I are back on the show this Friday morning. You know, I was just looking at something a while ago and realized that the CAF prize money for AFCON is 10 billion naira. Don't blame me, I don't follow soccer much. But it struck a chord in my head, like, I mean,
you have a skill.
Yeah, I'm thinking, should I do a career switch at this point or not?
Nah, at this point is, well,
maybe I can play my 50s, who knows?
But obviously, you can't qualify for the under...
okay, for the Super Eagles.
Super Eagles.
Okay, to play for the Super Eagles, right?
Yes.
Well, maybe I can play somehow. I don't know. As long as 10 billion naira is involved.
You can play media football, but not...
Well, this kind of football,
yes,
not the conventional one, right?
Football, yes.
I can imagine. But again, what it goes to show is when people have incentive, or if you like incentives, they are going to put their lives in it. Yeah. They are going to have to fight for it. And the thing is, the incentive in this case may not even necessarily be money. It could just be that there's somebody you care about whose interest you must protect by all means. It could just be that it's for the love of country, what we'll call patriotism. By the way, do we still have that? Patriotism. Are people still patriotic?
Yeah, there are people that...
Beyond just saying it on TV or on social media, in practice, do we still have patriotic people?
Yes, we have patriotic people. I want to believe that we have patriotic people. We have people that
still generally love the country, right?
Genuinely love the country despite all that is happening. You see a lot of... They're on social media as well, and you see it in their actions. So they tell you that they love Nigeria. They don't speak
ill of the country.
And
they even fight to ensure people do not speak ill of the country.
Yes, but that doesn't mean now, this is where we have to strike a balance. Speaking ill of the country is different from constructively criticizing. You know, most people think that if you're not vocal, it means that you love Nigeria. So we can't say that, you can't say that I am not patriotic because I come here and then I call out the government, I call out relevant agencies who are not...
With facts and figures.
With facts and figures, who are not stepping up to their responsibility. You cannot say I'm unpatriotic. In fact, that alone
a display of patriotism.
Patriotism, yes. And then it goes beyond just saying it here on air, but outside, after now, what happened? Am I responsive to rules and regulations? How do I, you know,
do you show good example?
Do I show good example and all that? But there are a lot of people that are patriotic, in as much as we see a lot of reasons not to be patriotic. I still believe there are a big Nigerians.
Much as we have incentives for not being patriotic. You know, that's an interesting thing. Patriotism is not as big a word as we think it is. I mean, if you can refrain from trashing our city or our streets, I mean, you don't have to throw expended bottles of water, you know, indiscriminately. You don't have to dispose of waste indiscriminately. You don't have to flood our water channels with your trash. You know, you don't drive against the lights and things like that. That's where it starts from the basics. And that's why civic education in our curriculum across board, particularly at that elementary level, should not be compromised for any reason. Because that's how it starts. I mean, at that age, yes, children are very apt, they are very fluid, they are very impressionable. So, like you said, yes, that's the best time to inculcate those values in them. But there have been several questions. For example, one of them being, how is it that we don't find these patriotic citizens, these patriotic Nigerians in corridors of power, as president, as governors, as legislators, across board, from local all the way to the federal levels?
I think one of the reasons why we don't find those kind of people is the process that gets people in power.
The process is faulty?
It's faulty, I must say. Mad with irregularities, mad with... I mean, we see it. We see it all the time. We see visuals. We hear it. We see it. And we see it literally, even when we go to polling units and all that. And then some of the histories of these politicians, the people that are in power, you hear that this person is coming for this particular position, coming to this position of leadership. You know what this person is capable of based on what they've been doing over time. You cannot tell me that it is now that this person now assumes this position of leadership that he's going to change. You judge people by their, do I say antecedents now? Yes, it's safe to say that, and their history as well, what they've done over time. So And because of the process, because of how rigorous it is to get into power, you find that people who are really patriotic, who love the country, not to want to, in the process of becoming leaders, you know, they understand that being a leader is a call to serve.
Yeah.
Would not want to, in the process of wanting to serve, now begin to deserve the people they're coming to serve,
Right.
or begin to hurt the people they're coming to serve. If you partake, if you as a contestant or a candidate, an election candidate, partake in vote buying, violence, you sponsor talks, you do all of these things, it means that your objective, the aim, your goal is not to serve, but, you know, to be served, rather.
Right.
That's just what it tells you. And so patriotic people, because they know what is involved, what is at stake, sometimes it is really, it's more like a battle. They would rather just, because of patriotism, love for country, lay back and say, no, I'd rather not hurt people. I'd rather not go through this way.
Right.
Just to serve. I'd rather just, you know, stay aback. And so you see that the people who are tough enough to engage in all of these things get into the corridor of power. We will keep praying. We will keep hoping.
And we'll keep believing.
And believing that, you know, we see more patriotic leaders.
Hopefully things will begin to look up for us in Nigeria. What we have to do, like Queen rightly pointed out, is individuals must take responsibility, and we must also take responsibility collectively. All right, so that sort of each one teach one kind of system, because the countries we all want to run to on account of this Japa syndrome were built by human beings with one head, with blood in their veins, not gasoline. All right, not methylated spirits, with blood in their veins. What we just need is to have a vision of the kind of country we want to be and live our lives in that direction. And then we're able to also have timeline and all of the KPIs to measure how much of progress we're making. Today you talk about countries that have come from 0 to 100, like my friend would say. You were mentioning guys like Singapore and so on and so forth. But that didn't happen as a result of a magic wand. It happened because somebody provided leadership and direction for their country, and it was within the space of 50 years they got to where they are today. All right, most countries are not able to achieve so much, not because they do not have the potentialities to achieve, but because there's no vision, there's no direction, there's no sense of purpose. Everybody just coming there to serve themselves, how to marry the next wife, buy the next big car, buy the next property, either in their country or overseas.
I mean, we saw in the news yesterday where I didn't get to read into the paper, but the headline says that service chiefs and government as well as presidents of some organizations are now using public fund to, you know, sponsor private trips. That is a disservice to the people that you're called to serve. These people's money, the people you're called to serve, you now begin to steal from them and now fund your selfish interest. This is what we're talking. That is unpatriotic and really pathetic.
You know, I'm just going to say something in addition to this. You see, double standard is another element that is dangerous. We've seen governors, every time it's Salah or it's Christmas or it's Easter, they're telling Nigerians. So we've seen the president, we've seen politicians across board saying Nigerians must use this occasion to unite, to build a country that we're all proud of. They must live by blah, 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 blah. You see, those things are not wrong. In fact, that's the sort of conversation we should be having all day, every day. However, the problem is, I mean, the broken link is that for the most part, these politicians do not even believe in the things they are saying. They are saying it for the records, because most times they are not even the one putting out those statements. It's their handlers, their aides that are putting out those statements. Those politicians do not even live by those values because they don't have those values. And you know what they say, you can't give what you don't have. The point is, Nigeria must come to a place where we live by nothing but example. So when a governor of a state or a local government chairman of a council says to you, we have to be accountable, he starts with himself. All right? When a governor says you don't drive against traffic, you don't use lanes that are dedicated to a particular service, the governor shows example. When a governor says you don't drive against traffic, you don't use sirens in this city or in this state, he lives by that example. So until we get there, I think governance is pretty much like parenting. You don't tell your children not to lie when they have grown up to know you as their dad or their mom as a liar.
Exactly.
All right, so it is what it is now. So it's got to be what they call garbage in, garbage out. So until Nigeria gets to find that sort of leadership, it means we are just going to be here and having that same conversation again and again. Incidentally, we are going to take a quick break now so we can bring you our first guests on the program this morning. Do stay with us.